deep in an ancient forest where the trees are so old they seem to remember the first storms, there lived an owl named Nimbo. He had seen everything: spring returning like a promise, summer blazing with life, autumn setting the world on fire with color, winter falling silent and cold. And yet, there was one thing he could never truly understand, one shadow that kept creeping closer the older he grew: death. For decades, Nimbo had been a symbol of wisdom among the forest creatures. He knew the language of rustling leaves. He knew the patience of the hunt. He knew how life moved in circles, not straight lines. He had watched fawns stumble into their first steps. He had seen foxes hunt with quiet cunning. He had seen bears vanish into winter sleep and return with spring's first breath. But as the years passed, Nimbo's feathers turned grayer, thinner, more worn. His wings didn't carry him the same way, and the nights once peaceful, full of calm reflection, became heavy with dread. Perched on the highest branch of his favorite tree, he stared at the full moon and asked questions with no answers. What happens after I am gone? Is death an ending? Or a doorway? Will everything I learned disappear like dust in the wind? When Nimbo closed his eyes, memories came like sharp claws. He saw again the lifeless gaze of his mate, taken by illness years ago. He relived the final breath of his closest friend, a clever fox, who had fallen into a hunteress trap. Those memories didn't just hurt. They frightened him because they reminded him that life can be beautiful and still break without warning. In his darkest moments, Nimbo wondered if anything meant anything at all. If death erased everything, then what was the point of love, of wisdom, of growth? Was life simply a story told once and then forgotten? His fear didn't just visit him. It moved in, it stole his sleep, it drained his peace, and for the first time in his long life, Nimbo felt lost. Then, one night when the forest was quiet enough to hear your own thoughts, Nimbo noticed something unusual. In a nearby tree sat an old parrot. Its feathers were weathered, its body tired, but its eyes were calm, not empty, not resigned. Calm in the way the ocean is calm when it's deep. Nimbo didn't understand it. How could anyone sit under the same moon and not fear what it meant? A small spark of hope flickered in him. He spread his wings, crossed the dark air, and landed on the branch beside the parrot. Nimbo cleared his throat gently, almost politely, like someone knocking before entering a sacred room. "Forgive my intrusion," he said. "I've seen you here, and I can't help noticing your peace. Would you share what gives you such calm?" The parrot remained silent for a moment, as if weighing Nimbo's words. Then it spoke softly, but with certainty. "The calm you see in me comes from living long enough to understand the cycles that govern everything." Nimbo listened, hungry for relief. "I have witnessed endless seasons." The parrot continued. "Spring, summer, autumn, winter again, and I learned that life moves through stages: birth, growth, maturity, and death." At the word death, Nimbo's chest tightened, but the parrot's voice stayed gentle. "Do not fear death," it said. "It is not a punishment. It is a part of the same cycle." Nimbo couldn't hold it in. "How can I not fear it?" he burst out. "Death feels like the end of everything I love. How can I be at peace, knowing one day I'll leave this world and everything I've lived will vanish into nothing?" The parrot listened without interrupting. No judgment, no impatience. And when Nimbo finally fell silent, the parrot offered a different way to see the same truth. "Imagine your life," it said, "as a tapestry woven thread by thread. Every joy, every hardship, every lesson, every loss, each one becomes part of the pattern." Nimbo pictured it: years as strands, memories as color. "Now understand this," the parrot continued. "Death is not the destruction of the tapestry. It is the moment the tapestry is completed. A pause. It is when the design can finally be seen in full." Then the parrot added another image, one that made Nimbo's fear loosen like a knot. "Think of your soul as a butterfly," it said, "growing inside a cocoon. Your body is the cocoon. Your life is the time the wings are formed. Nimbo's eyes widened. Death, the parrot said, is simply the breaking of that cocoon. Not an erasing. A release. Not a collapse. A transformation. For the first time, death didn't feel like a monster. It felt like a threshold. A door. But don't rush to leave this world behind. The parrot warned with warmth. Before you step into the next chapter, honor the one you're reliving now. Celebrate what you've experienced. The parrot gestured toward the forest. Notice the beauty you stopped seeing. The sound of the stream, the scent of wet earth, the moonlight on the leaves. Then the parrot's voice softened. Share your wisdom while you're resty. Leave something behind that outlives your body. Kindness, guidance, courage. And with a gentle movement, it placed its wing against Nimbo's quiet companionship in the dark. Do not fear death, it said. Welcome it as an ally that will guide you forward. That night, Nimbo did something he hadn't done in a long time. He stopped fighting the future and looked at the past with open eyes. He closed his eyes, and memories poured in not as torment, but as truth. He remembered the warmth of the nest where he first broke from his shell. He remembered sunlight on his face and his mother's soft calls. He remembered the clumsy determination of his first flight swings, beating hard as the forest opened like a world too big to hold. He remembered becoming strong, the long nights of hunting patience. Silent, precise, the pride of knowing he was capable. And then, the memories that once only hurt returned with a different meaning. His mate's illness, her passing, the loneliness after the fox friend lost to a trap. Those moments still ache, but now Nimbo saw them as part of the tapestry. Not proof that the tapestry was pointless. Scars, yes, but scars that showed he had loved, that he had lived. And slowly, something inside him shifted. He realized his life wasn't random. It wasn't wasted. It was a winding path filled with lessons, shaped by joy and grief alike. When Nimbo opened his eyes, the parrot was still there, serene, steady. Nimbo spoke with new calm. I understand death is not just an end, he said, but what comes after? Is it a spiritual realm? Is it rebirth? Is it becoming part of something bigger? The parrot paused. My friend, it said, those answers remain mysteries. No one can know with certainty what lies beyond the final breath. Each soul must take that journey without a map. Nimbo's heart beat once hard 10 stadia. But we should not fear the unknown, the parrot continued. We should meet it with an open mind and a brave heart. The parrot turned its gaze to the forest again. Look around you, it said. Nature teaches without speaking. Seeds fall to the ground, decay, and from that ending, new life rises in spring. Leaves drop, break down, and become nourishment for what comes next. Nimbo watched the branches, the soil, the quiet logic of renewal. Death, the parrot said, is a transition, one step in an eternal cycle. Then it offered one last image. Imagine your soul as a drop of water, it said, traveling rivers and streams, gathering experience. When death comes, the drop does not disappear. It returns to the ocean, becoming part of something vast and enduring. Nimbo felt relief, not because he finally had every answer, but because he finally had a way to walk forward without being crushed by the question. He bowed his head. When my hour comes, Nimbo said, I will not fear death. I will welcome it like an old friend. And until then, I will live fully. I will share what I know. I will leave behind something that matters. The parrot nodded, proud. That is wisdom, it said. Not knowing everything, but being brave enough to accept what you cannot control. From that day on, Nimbo changed. He became a guide to the younger ones. He spoke of courage, patience, kindness, and every night he returned to his branch and looked at the stars, not with panic, but with wonder. Years passed. The seasons kept turning. Nimbo grew slower. His wings grew tired, but his heart stayed calm. One night, resting on his favorite branch, he sensed a familiar presence. The parrot returned. I can see your time is near, the parrot said gently. Nimbo smiled. "I'm ready," he replied. "I've lived, I've loved, I've taught, I've learned." He took one last look at the forest that had been his home, and then he spread his wings. As he rose into the night sky, he began to glow softly, like moonlight itself, until he became a bright silhouette against the stars. And somewhere beyond what the eye can follow, Nimbo's light merged with the vastness, not as an ending, but as a beginning.